Hello y'all, this is Red Flood, a mod for Hearthstone 4 set in a timeline where no one actually won World War I. In the country selection screen, we're going to go with the Russian Empire. It is led by Alexander Kolchak. The Russian Empire doesn't really exactly start how to say centralized, but it does have 9 different subject states. With that said, it's not all sunshine and lollipops because the subjects have a national spirit named Warlord Indifference that basically means they are too busy doing their own thing to help the Empire if it gets into a war. Let's grab all of our army and send them all to Arkhangelsk so they can collectively see the sights and sounds of the White Sea. There is totally nothing strange about putting 58 divisions in one province. With all the troops gathered, that is a total of 634,000 soldiers in that one area. Supplies should be fine. In the focus tree, we will dismiss Nichvolodov, then make our way down the tree and start summer vacation like a dream and hopefully elections to the 9th State Duma. We have an air force. We are going to move all the planes in it to a place of high strategic importance, that being Siberia, cause better safe than sorry. The army has been moved again, this time to Yakutia to face the Pacific Ocean in case it tries to make a surprise attack. Also, the supply situation is magnificent there and definitely not terrible. Planning for a vacation, the leader of the country, that is Kolchak, is going to leave Petrograd and head to Yalta, a city in Crimea. The vacation of the Russian leader is cut short as he is targeted by assassins who pursue him in a street chase, then lose him before catching back up to him at an airport. They open fire on Kolchak. While we could choose to let him survive, we could go the opposite. We will do the latter, so he will die. With the death of Alexander Kolchak, Mikhail Drozdovsky of the Novorossian General Government says he will take over, but not everyone agrees with him, so this will start a civil war with the military being split on the matter. The army siding with Drozdovsky, while the navy sides with Kolchak's successor. The summer coup war has begun. Drozdovsky stormed government buildings in Moscow, claiming the current government is illegitimate. Drozdovsky endorses these groups and proclaims himself the leader of a new Russia. We have to choose one of the 2 options in this event to decide what side we're going to be on. Let's go down with Kolchak's clique. Long live Drozdovsky to play as the Novorossian government. From this point onward, we'll be playing as the Novorossian General Government led by Drozdovsky. We have the national spirits, monopolized industry, and victory in the Velika Voyna. Mikhail Drozdovsky in our timeline was a general who got his first taste of combat as a soldier in the Russo-Japanese War, later becoming a staff officer in World War I. He would join the White Movement in the Russian Civil War, which after a march from the Romanian front, his unit would face the Bolsheviks in southern Russia. He was wounded in October 1918. Never recovering from this, he would die on January 1st, 1919. His remains were hidden in Crimea in 1920 by his men to prevent any possible defilement. Looking at our army, we got 56 divisions, which even includes a single armored unit, which is nice. We have no navy, but we do have an air force with 3 air wings consisting of fighters and tactical bombers. We are not lacking in starting commanders at all. We have access to 6 generals and 2 field marshals, which is more than enough for our forces at the moment. With Kolchak's death, Ivan Romanovsky leads the enemy Russian Empire. This shouldn't be too hard of a war considering their troops are all the way on the other side of Russia in Siberia. If a single division from Yakutia can make it in time before we win the war, I will at least be very impressed by that. Something very interesting is going on in Celtorossia. Alexei Gostov and his accelerationists have taken over. Since they're still called the Celtorossian state, they haven't fully transformed into the one state yet. We're going to expand outward from Moscow and take all of the land held by the other side, who unsurprisingly has no one around to defend their provinces, thanks to an army-wide effort meant to keep an eye on bodies of water. A quick and speedy motorized division made up of some very fast trucks takes the Russian capital of Petrograd, which is one of the, if not the most important places we needed to capture. With the push toward the north a success, efforts to advance in the east are underway. It shouldn't be too long before a cavalry division makes their way into the cities of Samara and Kazan for those crucial victory points. The Russian Empire is 100% towards capitulation. There has been no casualties for either side so far, which makes this less of a civil war and more of an involuntary transition of power. Of course, because of the warlord indifference, they couldn't exactly get any outside help either. The inevitable peace conference is here. With the defeat of the enemy, we will take all of the land they have and add it to our own starting territory. As a result, we'll expand greatly in size. We got some new focuses. Let's start them off with a hollow victory, which will give us 3 bad national spirits. Some other new ones we get are purge the traitors, put down the peasant revolts, and end of famine. Also, on top of all this, the capital will be moved to Moscow thanks to a hollow victory. Once the industrial reconstruction focus is completed, the damage from the Civil War will be gone, and immediately after order restored is done, we'll begin the focus wind of change to move further down the political branch of the tree. One sad thing about our victory is that we did not inherit all the subjects the empire had, so we'll try to get them to join our country one way or another, and we are ready to use force if we have to. The first wayward government we are going to have to integrate, perhaps by means of violence, is the Siberian one, which we will deal with by justifying a war goal on them. The Japanese have been fighting a civil war for a while, which is typical in this mod, but what does amaze me though is the fact that Imperial Japan was able to beat the Beiyang government, I assume before the civil war began. If not, I think they must have avoided making a compromise, or it didn't work out somehow. We're going to war with the Siberian General Government. They have a war goal on Transbaikal. Hopefully they don't use it, as we don't want to compete with anyone else for land in a possible future peace conference. The next potential target for attack is Yakutia, as it typically is also an objective for their stronger neighbor Celtorozia, but if we act fast enough, we will deny the Celtorosians that opportunity. The national focus wind of change is completed. We get an event that says Kochak and his followers have been wiped out. Besides this information, we will be given a new focus tree. We got our new tree. We'll start it with the focus thrushes lead the flock. As for why it is called that, maybe because Drozd in Russian means thrush, which is a species of bird, and the fact that the first 5 letters of Drozdovsky's last name can make that word. Making our way through the tree, we'll do revival of the Motherland, which makes us into the Russian Empire and gives us cores on what I presume are the states of the old Russian Empire we beat earlier. The conflict in Siberia is over. They did get Transbaikal involved, but fortunately it worked out where they couldn't get anything, so we're able to grab everything we want in this peace deal. We could go down the direction that leads to a new Russian monarch, or we could call elections to a new state Duma. Let's go with the latter, and once that is finished, we will get an event. The new Duma. Drozdovsky wants it to be formed so he can legitimize his rule in the eyes of the people. He seeks to make himself the constitutional leader of Russia. Let's agree to fair elections instead of selecting appointees by executive, because every bit of base stability helps. With the Duma situation over with, let's do people's representatives start work and go down to the right and do new course to the Great Russia. With the new course focus completed, we unlock some new decisions centering around improving and developing different railways across Russia that will give us more infrastructure in select areas. We'll start to focus railway boom, and after that we'll get access to some more that will give us war goals, because we want to build railway lines in those places, which is one of the more interesting casus bellis I've seen. Restore Grozny Baku is done. This concerns the country of the Southeastern Union, who we get a war goal on. Let's see how prepared they are for the most aggressive railroad laying the world has ever seen. Taking a break from train-related activities, we'll continue Stolypin's reforms, make a few ministries, and due to focuses, we will govern the prosperity of the people, and another one that will bring Stolypin's necktie back into fashion. Before we could get to the reforms, it was hard to resist doing one more railway focus, so we went through with one that gives us war goals on the Kavkaz Society and Central Caspia, who is the puppet of Armenia, who is currently at war with Turkey. The Southeastern Union lost, so we sit at the borders of the Kavkaz Society and Central Caspia. As said before, Armenia is at war with Turkey, so there is a chance that if the war score for them is very high, we won't get the land we plan to take. Everything worked out for the parties involved, well, except for the countries that no longer exist. We even got a piece of Armenia in the peace deal. The Moscow-Riga Railway is to be made, so we're going to the Baltic General Government. If these focuses tell you anything about this regime, trains are mandatory, country solidarity is not. Something is happening nearby. Poland is fighting Belarus, and the Intermarium faction has been dissolved. Well, that's great for us, because that's one less threat. Our attention is going to be turned to Central Asia, so we'll get war goals on many countries there. I just want to say not much has been done with Stolypin's reforms yet, as was intended, because the chance to build more railways for war goals is just too alluring. 2 armies have been tasked to strike at the Orenburg military district and the general government of the steppes. Once they're out of the way, we'll have a launching pad to push deeper into Central Asia. The party, to summarize this grand event, it's talking about some kind of upper class party and some of the individuals that can be found there, as well as the dancing going on at this occasion. One army fights the Turkestan-Caspian Union, another prepares to go after the Turkestan government, while in the west, we have soldiers arranged to battle Ukraine, who is particularly vulnerable due to not being in a faction. Almost done with the consolidation of Central Asia. The last countries we have war goals on there are the Republic of Turkestan and Bukhara. The Russian Empire is marching into Ukraine. While that is going on, let's justify a war goal on Big Poland. We can get cores on a lot of Central Asia states by doing decisions under the Ministry of Resettlement category that either involve integration or colonization. We fight Poland, we are making progress, but not every battle is exactly going in our favor. We reach a point in the focus tree that will let us decide to help nomads settle down or go against that and make the end of nomads. We'll go with that and lose manpower but gain political power. The nomads are no more, but moving on from that, we'll do to focus might makes right, which is very generous to say the least in the amount of war goals it gives us. We annex Poland, but we're not finished just yet in the west. Thanks to those handy war goals we received, we are going to Lithuania and Finland. It's not going to be so simple to just beat the Grand Duchy of Finland because they're guaranteed by avant-garde France out of all the countries in the world. There is the war with the French and the League Solar. Fortunately, they don't really border us, but we do have to worry about them sending naval invasions and possibly divisions to Finland. While that endeavor is going on in Asia, an army has been set up to battle the Anhui clique, who went through the effort of getting almost all of Mongolia just for us to try and take it in a war. Let's try to be more ambitious and justify on Sweden, Norway. They're fighting Germany though, so we may not get to them in time. We're going to take out Xinjiang. Other than that, the war with the Anhui clique is going very well and should be over soon since their army is smaller than originally anticipated. France and Germany go to war. This is good for us as we could have a potential temporary ally and a way to get into French accelerationist territory. We did get military access from Communist Germany, so we're sending divisions to make a front line behind the current one, just in case they lose ground before we arrive. War was declared on Sweden, but we didn't get much war score, so the Germans take everything in that part of Scandinavia. This is probably a little later than expected to work on the military, but we'll do to focus reorganize the Stabka, which will give us a recovering military national spirit. Something very big happened, and I feel that we missed it, and it all involves Montenegro trying to be the new Roman Empire. We're fighting a war of attrition, and we're winning. The French have run out of manpower, and so have the Italians, but we, on the other hand, have almost 2 million left. That just adds insult to injury. Now the British are fighting the League Solar. The foe was defeated. We made a lot of puppets, and they're all despotic because that's our ruling ideology. If you're curious who leads France, it's Pierre Tatangi. They also got a different flag. The final opponent, the one state who seeks to make human robots, they battle us, a Russian empire who wants modernization at any cost. This is somewhat anticlimactic, but we are throwing a lot of divisions at Celtorosia, and in case anything goes horribly wrong, we got 6 million manpower. It's over. The Russian Empire has come a long way, to civil war, to warfare, railroad tycoon, to this. Looking at Europe, Germany fights Austria. Also, the borders may be a little different than usual, especially the Balkans. The video is going to stop here. If you enjoyed the mod, make sure to check it out in the description below. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe. Leave a comment. Have an awesome day. I'll see y'all later. Bye.